Hi, she's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all that it gives us and what we hope it gives you. We're on episode 122 today. We're into our second video of the year, 2024, and for those who have followed us long enough now, because we've been here for about 3 years, we have birthdays in January in our family. We have 4 birthdays in January. And right now we're in the midst of my birthday and my son's birthday. We were born one day apart. I was born on the 9th and my son ended up being born on the 10th. And we're actually filming on the 10th today as we have a much more formal and much more lively and exciting birthday party planned more towards the end of the month. We're a little bit more convenient for family and everyone. With all the Christmas holiday celebrations kind of being so condensed, everyone's still doing their celebrations and just coming off of the high of the new year. Doing it more towards the end of the month allows some rest and recoup before we all see each other again. So with that being said, we're just having a chill day. It's being fun, we're having a good time, and I'm excited because I've been on this grind to get projects done. And since the last time I saw you guys, I have completed quite a bit of my work. And so has my mom. She has done a great job with this blanket. I really think that your colors for this is just on point.
Yeah, very, very pretty. This blanket is done with a 5mm hook, and it's double crochet. And I did 101 stitches across, came back and it was 100. So we start in the white, this is white, creamish white, and went into the Delft blue. And then we are now into the ice cream. So
I love this yarn.
Yes. And it's very pretty against that blue. And that's where I'm at so far. And it's just going to be a lap blanket, so it doesn't have to be anything big, but I'll finish the ice cream yarn, and then I'm going into the mint green, and then I'm going into my other white, and that'll be finished. So it's so
simple, but just straight to the point too.
And such vibrant colors that it pulls it all together.
It reminds me of the blanket you made me when I was a teenager. Do you remember those blankets that you used to make? The single crochet blankets, the big ones?
That's all I knew how to do.
It was huge. It's huge. And she did it all in single crochet. And she made...
For a full-size bed.
We still use that at my house.
Yep.
But it's done in stripe patterns like this, where it's one whole bit of one color, one whole bit of one color, one whole bit of one color. And it's really nice, and I love that blanket. What I was going to say is, I remember, and I've seen this, where some of the other craft creators do a thing where they almost know the yarn by its name. That they actively go seek whoever either dyes or does the yarn, whether it's hand dyed or whatever, or they know the name of that yarn due to the fact that that's the yarn company they almost exclusively buy from, whether it be online or in store. And I remember, like last week or wherever, when you were putting these colors together, seeing that color and just instantly remembering the name, because I remember the last time you using it. And I'm coming to terms with the fact that, like, I can feel kind of when I know a brand at this point of yarn, where it's like, oh, this kind of feels like a Lion brand, or oh, this kind of feels like a Karen or a Red Heart or whatever, because of their recipe of how they put the fibers together, even if they're all acrylic or whatever. But visually speaking, this is the first time I feel like I've looked at a palette or a yarn and been able to name it
Yeah.
on my own. And you did that blanket like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I haven't seen it, but I remember when you were making it, and I remember when you got it because you were making it for our aunt.
Yep.
And she likes ice cream. That's her favorite snack and dessert.
Exactly.
And you literally bought the
ice cream, or the
yarn because it's called ice cream.
Yes.
And so I just, I don't know. I like that.
Yeah.
I like those moments.
Yeah, me too.
So, with that being said, I know I kind of made a very brief announcement with this video in the beginning of the anticipation that I have completed some works in progress. It's been kind of a weird couple of days, and I'll explain why. Not just because of the birthdays, but because of how my mood has been and how my hands have been. Let me explain. So, I said a couple of weeks ago it was like after Christmas, I was going to show off the gifts that I had made, and I didn't even bring all of them. It's crazy. But here's the reason. My son's been actively playing with them, so it's been one of those like, oh, I don't know where they are right now in the house when I'm trying to pack to come film these videos. But I actually took them and put them in my craft bag, and I've had them in my craft bag for almost going on 5-6 days. Why? Because I need them for a reference point for some of the other characters that I'm making freehand, where I don't have a pattern, so I'm having to make them on my own. So to get to the point, I've already showed you Mario.
So cute.
I've already showed you Luigi. I do have a Toad that is completely done, and I just for right now I forgot to grab him. But last week, all Bowser was parts. And now he is fully assembled. My son's right over there, and he doesn't actually know that he's done fully. He might have seen him already, I don't know, but everything is now sewed together. And I would like to say I had to do the tail on my own, and yes, he does stand on his own. And it's great because how I've been propping him is I prop him like this, and because his arms are stretched out, because these can't stand on their own, I can just have them lean up against the arms, and so it looks like they're all standing together. I don't know. This was one of those things where a test to my skill. I did this pattern 3 years ago for my nephew. And 3 years now have passed, and I've now had to make it for my son, and I now recognize how far I've come as someone who makes toys.
Right.
And my ability to be a little bit more sensitive to detail, or sensitive to how I should adjust for my stitches, or my gauge, and how tight I stitch, or how I should assemble, or whatever. And so even the eyes this time around, I feel turned out a little bit better. The face, just my ability to be a little bit more focused. Are there things that I know I didn't do well, or maybe could have done better, symmetric wise or whatever? Yes. Is it a problem really? No. It is going to be great. I know my son is going to, I know my son's going to be excited no matter what. And here's the thing. That's not the only character that he wants to have for his birthday. Mommy. He also would like to have Princess Peach from the world. The way that she is drawn and depicted, she is a bit taller than Mario.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like the height of Luigi, but a little bit taller technically. But because of how I've gauged Bowser's size to the, figurines, these characters that I've made, where obviously Luigi is taller, I'm just going to make her about the same size as Luigi. And I'm having to do her from scratch, guys, so She has no pattern. I'm just making this work, okay? So I will show you what I have done. And is she done? Is his birthday today? Yes. Is she done? No. Is that just going to be what it is? Yeah. Why? Because I'm not going to hurt myself trying to get this done.
Right.
Because I don't want this to be sloppy.
Right.
I want this to turn out well, even if I'm still trying to get them done in a good amount of time. I'm pinning the arms on so you can still get a good visual of how this is supposed to look.
It's good.
There are details that I am trying to figure out, such as the secondary pink color that she is depicted of having. So she has a bit of a blush pink or kind of like a blush bubblegum pink for most of her main color, but she also has a much more of like a going on to a rosy pink for her accent color. Now, here's the thing. In the movie, the way that she is depicted, she has two outfits. She has her traditional outfit being in a dress. She technically has a wedding dress scene, but that's not the one that my son referenced at all. But there was another scene where she's in a tracksuit because she's driving her motorcycle.
Oh.
And she has like this full white tracksuit with pink accents on it. So I asked him, do you want her in the tracksuit or do you want her in a dress? And he said dress because she's a princess. So I have her in that. And so what you're seeing is her legs. I have not fully got the skirt done. Yes, do I have her in white shorts? Of course I do, because I need to have something on her legs. So I kind of have these like little legs depicted, and I kind of have her somewhat figured out. I did the same design shape of face as Luigi because she has a bit of a diamond / heart shaped face. The bangs accentuate that. I originally was going to have her to have flat long hair going down her back, but I decided to do a ponytail because of the way I decided to do the hair, and she does do ponytails, so it still works. I'm going to be doing her ears that will have big earrings because she kind of has like the Cinderella earrings where it's like the big circle stud, and it's a blue. I will get the crown done. Her arms will be attached. She has a little bit of skin on her forearm before it goes into her little long gloves. Obviously, like I said, I made sure she had some sort of like shorts underneath her dress just because I did want her to have legs under the skirt.
Right.
And so, because at first I thought, what if I just did the skirt, stuffed it, and then made a flat bottom so she could stand? But I was like, no, I want her to have legs. I decided if these characters are going to have legs, then she should too.
Right.
So I'm working on the skirt. The one thing about her dress is it's not this big poofy dress. It kind of comes down more as a cone.
Okay.
Much more straight down.
Okay.
And so she does have like the accentuated poofy hip additions to her dress, and a brooch on her front, and a collar that I do have to accent. I plan to give her pink shoes, and I'm just working on these small details. To be fair, once I just get this skirt done and her feet on, the rest of it's details. It's the ears, it's the crown, it's the brooch, it's some of those small details on her dress, and she's done. So there's a very good chance I can still have her done today. It just might be after he's already in bed. The reality is that I will be giving him his Bowser tonight at dinner. So he will have his Bowser today. She will be in his room playing with Luigi and Mario at some point in the next day. So there's that. That's where I'm at with that. But here's an extra announcement that I have. And I know I kind of might feel a little rushed here, but here's why. We're trying to be reasonable on the time for the video today. Our day has been kind of hectic. Snow fully dropped on us a couple days ago, which is kind of ironic because I've been telling my son that you will know when our birthdays are when the snow hits. Trying to let him know that, hey, our birthdays are in the winter, so when snow happens is when you should be expecting our birthdays to happen. all winter. Ever since the winter season has technically begun, we haven't even had a white Christmas. We haven't had anything. It's been so green, so brown, so gray in the sky, all these sort of things. And all of a sudden, a couple days ago, right the day before my birthday, snow just dumped. And now we're we had snow days and trees are falling on roads and it's been crazy. We had a whole county-wide school shutdown, and it's just been nuts. So today, we're kind of in this situation of really just making things work as we've been dealing with family that had power outages and just trying to help everyone out. So our video has to be shorter, but here's the thing. I'm so excited to share this because, like I have said, I am trying to be a little bit more conscious of my trying to accomplish goals in achieving my skill set that I'm trying to get at, the level of skill set I'm trying to achieve in my hobby, in my craft of making these dolls. My next step that I've been really wanting to do is a little bit more like mannequin style dolls where they're a little bit more like realistic body shapes, face shaping, sculpting of the body shapes that I'm doing. Not just kind of like puffy, toy-esque shapes, but like realistic, like almost kind of like a Barbie or a Bratz doll or an action figure, sort of like they will have like the muscle look, like the look of a calf, the look of a foot, the look of all these different details. And that requires a much smaller weight of yarn. I will actually now start using crochet thread, so size 0 thread yarn, and be using actually like doily crochet hooks to start crafting these dolls. I have been looking into what it's going to take to be much more practice in my embroidery work, as I will be embroidering the eyes to be much more realistic.
And the lips.
And the lips and the cheeks, and learning how to create impressions in the work where it's not just me putting eyes on top of a round face, but actually not to try to make
indenting.
This like, yeah, making it where it's like the obvious shape of a face has a nose that's protruding out, ears that come out of there is a scoop out of where the cheekbones are protruding and the eye sockets are, and all those different shapes of, the forehead comes out from the eye sockets, and that's where the eyebrow line is, and the jaw bones and all that sort of stuff. I'm now getting really interested in making like realistic dolls. And here's the thing. I'm very excited about it because my brother gave me a Joann's gift card for my birthday, and I went to Joann's and I said, this is what I want to do. I looked up an Etsy pattern to finally figure out my first tutorial in making realistic dolls. I bought it. I got this thread. I bought the kit of doily needles. I even got so like my Susan Bates doily hooks, and I even found, so I actually even found what are called, I know these are very thin, but these are called, and I know they're long, but they're actually doll needles, so they can make it through very specific lengths of doll work, toy crafting, and pick some of those up. I got wax for my thread so that my embroidery work would be a little bit more, I don't want to be having trip ups when I'm doing it. I don't want to be stuck when I finally get confident enough to actually start embroidering onto the work, have my thread snag and get knotted in the doll. That would be so devastating to have after all that work. So I picked up those things with my gift card. I even had some money left over because we had a coupon and all this stuff, and I was just, it felt like a full circle. Like there were things this last year that I really wanted to do for myself. At the beginning of 2023, I said I wanted to make works that I was able to keep. I did not get to that. I did buy a pattern that would be for me. Like once I actually accomplished this would be something that would stay home with me.
Right.
And there are other patterns that I did save on my Etsy profile, but I never purchased that I know I will get to. But now I'm at like the stage of my mom has been really adamant, Sarah, this doll is going to be yours. You're not selling this one. This is one where once you're done with it, this is going to be the start of your new journey in crafting. And you're going to be, let's have this moment be something memorable.
Well, and to the point, have a stepping stone to furthering it and possibly selling these as something to do.
Because I have been looking into this for a while. Like, I know that I have mentioned it a couple times on here, but like, to be fair, my mom has had her ear chewed off when I find this stuff, and I've been finding the creators. A lot of them are Turkish or Russian, and so their profiles are not something I'm actually able to read, but they do have like a video tutorial or some step-by-step photos on their on Instagram or something. I'll be like, I can just interpret as much as I can. I will soak it up as much as I can. And I'm trying to be realistic. It's kind of like Michelangelo had to have doodled before he drew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to act like I'm going to get good. I don't know how well I'm going to get at this, but I recognize that you have a starting place. A lot of astronauts start by being pilots. They don't start by doing a spaceship. They don't start there. They start by being just a pilot on a plane. Like, things like that where it's like, get the mechanics, get the muscle memory, get the basic level knowledge of what you want before you exceed to the next step. So where I'm at is, and this is the best thing, my mom just dumped me with all this embroidery floss.
I had bought it
just
last year
so
when
much.
I was into embroidery, but then
just so much. She just gave me so much,
and I had so many colors that it was just like, if
duplicates.
If she's going to be doing this, why can't I just share it with her?
And I have these little embroidery looms, and we've been picking up muslins and such. And the reality is I'm going to be realistic with myself. Like I said, doodle before you put it on the canvas. Try to get some sense of what you're supposed to do. I'm going to be practicing and getting back into my basic embroidery step-by-steps. Like, find like basic stitches, practice a couple of them. Get maybe some practice patches done. Put them back in my folder.
Jane will be happy.
Yeah.
She taught you in the first place.
I know. I've been thinking about all the stitches that she taught me. Like, I can't remember the one. I had such a hard time with this one. It was a little bud where it was, you come up.
A French knot.
Yes. And you twist the active thread,
and then
you go back down into it, and I would always not be able to get that knot. Like, it would be so frustrating. It would just pop right back out the other end. I would just be like, I don't know what I did wrong. But I've been looking at these where people make murals out of thread.
Right.
Like I'm talking like, it almost looks like a whole entire scene of like a landscape of like a horizon, but the way that they have the rays of the sun being the center point or wherever it is, that's how the thread is fanned out to depict the scene. It's always in that direction of where the beams of rays of sun is coming out, as to how the colors are played out on the material to show the scenes. And I've been looking at those. I've been looking at how they create different depths of texture depending on the weight of the strands, how many strands are on the needle, how they decide to use textures or add, or even use stuffing to add, or even to put beads in there to create depths or dimensions of coming off of the material. And I've seen people actually using beads to create 3-dimension embroidery art, because they brace the beads into an arch over the loom, and then they brace it down so that they can create like mushrooms that come off of it, and then the stems are underneath.
Oh yeah.
And things
Yeah.
where it looks like it's coming off of a tree trunk or something,
Yeah.
but it's visually off of it, and it's so cool to see the creativity. And you know, it doesn't matter how thick the yarn or how small the thread. If your brain wants to solve a problem, it will, and that will be, this does not have color, this does not have meaning yet, and I want to give it meaning in life. Yeah. And so I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be practicing my eyes on muslin, and if I get good at it, and I do have a couple of successes, I will either save them for myself as a point of reference of, oh, I want to save and try to mimic this later. Or I was thinking I can hodgepodge the back of it and cut it out and be little patches that I can always use on a doll later on, until maybe my confidence grows to actually do it straight on the doll's face. So I am trying to be realistic. I'm not trying to set myself up for failure or go too fast. I know I will be able to do the pattern that I have bought from Etsy with with this thread. I know I'll be able to make the body because I've gotten good at reading origami patterns, and I just got to get used to the size change. So besides that, I'm not too worried about the body itself. It's much more of I need to get better at the embroidery. So I'm thinking that right now, once I get some of these projects like done, what I'm going to do with my time in the next couple of months is there is a big list of unfinished projects that I need to get done. I have a hat to get done. I have a blanket to get done. I got some projects that I have not finished. Those will be things that I work on as my crocheting and knitting. All my other time of like my other creative energy, things that I'm going to be using like brain power in my brain cells to actually finish and kind of give my time to, will be in my embroidery, it will be in my doll making. I'm thinking about just making heads to practice on as well, like, because the bodies themselves are one section, and then the pattern I got actually suggested doing 3 different types of dolls' heads, and those patterns were on there. Whether it be a faceless doll, as if it was a mannequin head where it had nothing,
Right.
no shape. Then it had one where it had I think it had a stronger jawline with a bigger nose, or one where it was a softer jawline with a smaller nose. And how to place the sockets and how to do the foreheads and how to do all that face shaping is in this pattern. And so I'm thinking about just getting to the point where I make a couple of heads, I practice on the heads. I'm at a point where this is going to be a bit of a lull in how I do these my show and tells on these videos for a while, and these vlogs of like, I will be bringing back old patterns, old projects, old UFOs that just have piled up, and I will be showing those off as I get them done. But for now, where I'm at in my journey with my crocheting and my crafting in general, I'm going to be doing this in much more concentrated detail, and I'm very excited. So I am going to try to get my kids to focus on going back to their seats. Having the snow day, having the family coming around, having all the stuff that happened today, they're kind of a little wired. We're kind of getting into this sense of feeling claustrophobic in the house. And so, again, this video is going to be a little bit shorter. But I'm grateful for any of you that have obviously stuck through just listening to me ramble. And I'm going to give it over to my mom for a little bit as I get my kids down. Come on, kiddos.
It's, I have a verse today, and I found it based on being Caniel's birthday, having Sarah's birthday too, which, me giving birth to her. So it says, every mother has the breathtaking privilege of sharing with God in the creation of new life. She helps bring into existence a soul that will endure for all eternity. Isn't that precious? So, yeah, every mother has the breathtaking privilege of sharing with God in the creation of new life. And I think, with birth and all the things that goes with that, and bringing it forth into the new world. And then she helps bring into existence a soul that will endure for all eternity. Every soul has an eternity. And so we, with me having given birth to Sarah all those years ago, and then with Sarah having given birth to Canyo 4 years ago, we, both being mothers, we have given birth and given new life just like God has. And I just think that's so precious. What would you say about that?
Yes, I think that there is just a sense of poetic it's almost like poetry come to life.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I was telling my mom yesterday that a very, very, very long time ago, I saw a video that I think it was called Mom Goggles. I know it might sound weird, but it was a Mother's Day video of it was either like two brothers that had their families or two families that were friends, and the dads were trying to get their wives to go have some them time, go have go have a break, go shopping, go do something to give yourself some time and refresh. And in some way the narrative of the story ended up being of how is it that the moms, the wives, have this very interesting relationship with the children. I don't know, what is that perspective? And the dads had like these goggles that they put on that were kind of like the perspective, what their spouse saw when their children presented them with certain things. And I remember one of them was, it was like the kid came up with this scribbling little stick figure, but through the lens of the glasses, the mom saw what the dad was seeing, and through the perspective of the mom was like, it was like the Mona Lisa, right? And and once they got done, there was so many different ways that this played out. It wasn't just a drawing; it was many different things where like the astonishment through the experience of the mom's view, through of what the mom feels when the child presents something, the dads felt very deeply. So when the wives came back, they kind of had this new appreciation of the relationship that the moms had with the children. And I said, I feel like I've been experiencing this recently. My kids have been really drawing a lot, to the point where with my daughter, there's a layer of drawn papers literally on her floor. And she's been drawing like nonstop. I've even heard her up until like 9-10 o'clock at night, where I'm like, do I go put her back to bed? And then I hear her bed squeaking and realizing that she's just bringing another piece of paper to her bed because she has a little stash of crayons and a book that she's drawing on. And for some reason that's keeping her calm. And it's like, no. She'll be okay. She'll go to sleep. And the things that she presents to me, the stories that she shows, the creativity, even with my son, and some of the things that come to his brain, and he has to tell a story, and how they get so excited. And I've just been coming to terms with the fact that there is this relationship that when they are a part of us, and they then create, there's a sense of unexplainable, almost like radiating joy, almost like pride of, this is an extension of me.
Yeah.
Not because I'm trying to take ownership of their accomplishments as much as I have the opportunity to nurture
Right.
their creative spirit. And there are relationships where you see the parents not taking that role in their children's life as seriously as they could.
Right.
They almost stunt it by saying it's not important or that they don't think that's good or whatever. But there are some, and I'm not trying to diss any sort, I'm not aiming that at anybody, but there's, there are those parents that don't see that. But then from someone like me where I'm like, as my kids get so much better at their artistic expression, how much my daughter at the daily has to draw something every single day.
Right.
Now, it's a part of her routine. It's a part of how she
It's
operates.
Part of her imagination.
It's part of just who she is, her everyday. I can't begin to express the joy of knowing that they are creating. Feeling like I know that they will know what it's like to be a part of my world.
Right.
There is something that I can be like, this is the poetic nature of the privilege of sharing the ability to create life. That I feel like this quote very much.
I love it.
It's like so this coming in circle. It's the whole, no matter how you have your relationships with the next generation, whether it's just you feel like you just have that relationship as a teacher or as like this, this aunt, or whether you've adopted kids or however this works, whether they are your biologicals or not, this ability to kind of be like, I am passing on this baton.
Yeah. To the next generation.
I'm sharing this creativity. It is a privilege that I get to have in your life, that I have the ability to nurture this. I know that there's more to what but it is breathtaking. It is this moment of pause that I feel like moms end up having much more of a moment in having, not because dads don't, but I think because our bond with the children that we have born is an extension of ourselves for a much longer period, as we share so many biological connections for a long time, especially in the first several years of their lives. Eventually, they kind of separate and become more independent, but in these first years, their extension of what they want to share with you, what you have the opportunity of being like, yes, go for it, do this, it's going to be a good thing, is become such a thing. I mean, even with being able to create these things and my children being like, so you can do this next, and you can do this next, and you can do this next, and their confidence in my ability to create.
Right.
It's this, we get to pour into each other's buckets. It's been great.
Yes, that's exactly it. Well, we hope that you liked this video, and if you did, would you please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, tell your friends. And with that, we're going to get taking care of these littles. So
sorry if we were a little bit distracted during this video and had to get off camera, and if you heard some shushing. They were warned to be a little bit quiet, and sometimes their self-control just kind of drains out through their ears, through their brains where that was stored. So we thank you for your patience. We hope that you enjoyed what we got to share with you today. And as always, we hope that all your projects go well, that you have so much to share with your successes, and feel free to leave comments.
Yeah, tell us what you're working on.
What you're working on. If you have any, especially me getting back into embroidery, if there's any embroidery channels that you guys might have suggestions of where you might point me in the direction of getting practice, things like that, I would appreciate anything that you guys might be willing to share, as I'm always more than willing to share with you.
Yep.
Yes. And so, as always, we hope that you have a great rest of your day and that you stitch your way
to mental health.